Today, let's take a look at the Amiga 1000 from the 64 Commodore episode and how I've made it into the perfect daily use machine for my shop. While I was working on the Amiga 1000 episode of 64 Commodore, I was really inspired by this machine. I restored it just for that episode, but as I worked on it, I really wanted to make use of it on a regular basis. So I decided this is going to be my day use Amiga up until I come to getting the 3000's horrible battery acid damage fixed. I have the 500 on the shelf that I've been using, but there's a certain amount of friction in getting it out, putting it on the bench, setting it up. And if I've been working on another 500, a lot of times Paula and the RGB to HDMI are out of it, so then I got to dig that out and hook it all back up. So now the Amiga 1000 is set up right next to my main editing computer. So the main bench is the other side, my editing computer here. And this is where I set up machines for use, plus the 3D printer that I don't know where else to put it. So the Amiga 1000's here. I've also, you may have noticed, moved. The 128D is over here now instead of at the end of my bench. As I was taking this to some of the meetups a lot, I kind of got to where I like having that much bench space. So I decided to go ahead and move it over here. But today, I want to show you what I've done to make this machine perfect for daily use. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull it apart here. I'm going to take it on the bench because one of the daily use parts I put in, but one of them I forgot. So I got to open it back up. We'll talk about what I've added to it and why, and I'll see you in a second. So for the purposes of this video, I have removed most of the add-ons from the Amiga 1000 because we're not going to need them. What I've taken off is, and this isn't going back on, is the Starboard 2. Then the Genlock's out. I'm going to use this monitor because it videos better, and I want to use it. So we're just down to the basic machine. But the one thing that we have added is called the Parceiro II. I don't speak Portuguese, so I have no idea how that's pronounced. But this thing is freaking amazing. So when I was getting ready to finish up that video, and I made some posts on Facebook and Reddit just asking, you know, for $100 budget, what do you recommend I do to get a good modern storage system working on this thing so that I could load games and that kind of stuff easily? And to a T, I got the same answer just about from everybody, and that is find a way to stretch your budget. Get the Parceiro II. There is no equal. And boy, were they right. My sister had drawn my name for Christmas, so I had her help me pay for the Parceiro II so I could get it into my budget. And so here it is. And it's just a little device plugged into the side of the machine. But what a device this is. This thing is amazing. Now, as you can see, it has a memory card. It also has a switch. And it just plugs into the side of the Amiga. This gives you 3 kickstarts to boot off of. It gives you 4 hard drive images, 1 for each kickstart, plus a 4th one for transferring. And that transfer one we'll look at in a second, but it shows up on every kickstart version. And on top of that, it shows up on a PC. So you can do that here, or you can switch all the way over to boot off a floppy and basically disable everything. But I was so focused on the project at hand that when I put it back together, last time I had the case open, I forgot to add this other piece in. So it is an MC68EC000F020. That is an actual processor and a math coprocessor, and it just replaces the Motorola 68000. This will run at the standard 7 megahertz, so it'll run compatible games that require that speed, or it's software switchable to a faster speed, which I believe is 32 megahertz, but don't quote me on it. We'll look it up in just a minute. So first thing I need to do is get this machine taken apart, get this installed, and get it back together. And then we'll take a look at the Parceiro II because this thing is freaking fantastic. And there we go. This is my very favorite dip in the world. That's right, my favorite dip is a chip. Slowly working it in. I don't want to put too much pressure on the board. There we go. Okay, so with that in there, now it's just a matter of putting it all back together. Okay, Future Mike here. I just literally finished this video. I uploaded it to YouTube. I went and the next morning I rewatched it before I posted it for patrons. And I realized that I had left a couple things out that I think are important enough to add this little bit in. So as you're watching this video, there's a couple of things to keep in mind. One, I'm not going to go over every last bit about the software that's on this machine because it is just so much. The Parceiro II adds a ton of stuff. And there are some great multi-part video series out there already, so I will link those in the description. And if you want to go get more details, go look at that. But second, and this is the really critical thing, is most of those videos show you how you have to replace some gals and some other hardware in your Amiga 1000 in order to do the switching between versions of Kickstart. That is no longer the case. It seems like David has a process of continuous improvement, and that is one of the improvements that have come along the way. So just disregard in other videos where it says you have to change the hardware on the Amiga. There's no hardware changes required whatsoever. It's fantastic. It's plug and play. You don't have to get the replacement processor either. So if you want to just add the Parceiro II Plus without the replacement processor, that's just fine. I just wanted the acceleration because frankly, I'm hoping to do more day-to-day work on this machine than I would otherwise do. So perhaps some word processing, things like that. So anyway, back to the video. All right, so one of the really neat things about this Parceiro II is the ability to flip a switch under here, a switch right under there, and change which OS you're using. So currently I have it set in the first position for OS 1.3. And the hard drive image for that is stored right here on this SD card. So let's turn it on. And we can see. I left a floppy in the drive. Oops. But as you can see, there is a hard drive activity light there. And we have booted up into I don't know what workbench. So I am going to turn it off and on again. There's the Parceiro logo. I do not have sound hooked up right now. It plays a more modern song. Now, one thing I haven't figured out yet is I have the workbench, the transfer, and the data directories here. And the data directory, I want to put it over here, but when I try to snapshot that, it says it's write protected. So I need to mess around with that and figure out why it does that. Now, once we're booted up in the Parceiro, one thing that's really neat up here is there is a special menu. And here we have speed. And with that add-in we just put in, we're now running at 32 megahertz. But I can just do that, and now I'm running at 7. So if I have a game that requires you to run at that speed, it works fine. But I do like that. I have had a couple crashes with it on fast, but always running apps that clearly didn't like it. So you can set the clock, you can go into the toolbox, and you got flashing drivers, virtual disk, and about. So there's the about info where our Parceiro version 4, that's Parceiro II version 4, dated 8/1/2025. This thing is just really cool. So if I go onto the workbench disk, there's a launcher. And you can see how fast that ran. So you email David, let him know you're interested. He tells you when the next weekend is that he's going to be building them. Once you make the order, he's got a lot of questions, and I can tell why, because he took a lot of the things that he asked me about, and from my replies, put them in here. So the first game I ever got on my Amiga was the Bard's Tale. Ultimas are very special to my heart. Carrier Command, I loved the game back in the day. I always wondered about the name of one of the people in the credits, Edwin Reich Jr., because I had a friend into computers in high school that was by that name, and it's not a real common name. And I got a hold of him on Facebook a few years back, and indeed, he did work on Carrier Command, so it's even more special to me now. So I think I've shown this before, but I went ahead and got myself a copy of it. And then Defender of the Crown. Another thing interesting on here is the plans demo, which is on one of the 600, somewhere in the 600s fish discs, was written by Gary Hale. He was the president of the local Amiga user group while I was the secretary treasurer. He is the person who all of the TV Amigas came from with the toasters. So I'm really excited to have plans on here. I'm not going to run it because it runs in interlace mode. It is a multi-layer CAD program and it's not suitable for this monitor. As you can see, there is a lot of software on here. Amiga Basic, and there's sysinfo, the Boing Ball, so there's demos, Pirates, Planetfall, Prince of Persia. I mean, there's just a ton of software on here. James Pond I've never played. I'm going to have to check that. There's Lemmings. Got my Lemmings disc over here. Populous. God, I played the heck out of Populous. I think that was the first game I ever played that actually gave me issues with arthritis or with hand pain. Played that so much and you're leveling all the ground. So one thing I wanted to take a look at here is sysinfo. So here we are running in speed mode. So let's do a speed test. And there it is. So we are running at 5.18 times the speed of an Amiga 600, which is odd. But if we look at the Amiga 2000, we're running about 4 times faster. So that sounds right. 8 and 8 is 16, and 16 is 32. So there you go. If I look at drives, we can see we have DF0, SD0, SD3, and SD4. So let's now turn the Amiga off. I'm going to flip this switch down here to the next position, turn the Amiga back on. Okay, that's interesting. I've never had that error before. I'll have to touch base with David. I've booted this up before. So if you notice, the Workbench 2 is different. So we are now running Workbench version 38. This should be 2.04. It certainly looks like 2.04, so I'm sure it is. We're running at fast speed. So let's try the next position and see what we get. This should be 3.0. Shall we play a game? Oh, so on this one it shows War Games. Okay, and we haven't changed Workbench version. Yeah, we have. That's Workbench 3. So each copy of Workbench is a completely separate copy. So when you boot in a particular OS, you always have a data drive, you always have the transfer drive, but then you have one drive that's just for that version. So you can install all your software for OS 3 right here in the WB3. If you want to take something from OS 3 and take it to a different version, all you have to do is save the file on the transfer, because this is the same disk on all the different versions. So I'm pretty amazed by this whole thing. I mean, it just blows my mind. Now I'm running sound. I'm running it through the 1702 just for convenience. So lots of games, lots of demos, lots of everything. Trying to decide what I want to launch. I want something I can actually play. I do want to talk just real quick a little bit about the 64 Commodore series, because I've had some feedback, like some things aren't perfect, or somebody lied and I believed them. Oh, God forbid. So I just want you to understand that, one, 64 Commodore is a series about repairing these 64 Commodores while we explore the details of the machines in whatever way I see fit, really. Oh, I loved this back in the day. I'm really terrible at chess, though. If I want to look at the history of the Commodore 64, because I find the changes in the Commodore 64's motherboards fascinating, the evolution of that machine as it went on. The Amiga 1000 was kind of a combination of a love story, a bit of history, and also just to look at a lot of things that I didn't know a lot about back in the day. So it was great to look at and learn about that. But I really want to make it clear that I am not infallible. For instance, I got wrong the fact that the demo that was done by Andy Warhol, I thought was a predecessor to Deluxe Paint. It was not. And it's just, they look so similar, I didn't research it. But also, there is so much conflicting information out there. It's freaking insane. It drives me nuts. So for this series, what I really try to do is look for information that's pre-internet, especially pre-AI. So I'm watching a lot of old interviews, old videos. I'm digging up legal documents. So for example, I've seen claims that when Amiga went and paid off the loan to Atari, they went and they gave that check to Jack Tramiel and, blah, blah, blah. But when I looked up the legal documents, it was very clear that the loan was paid off on, I believe it was June 29th, and Tramiel didn't take control of Atari until July 2nd. So this happened a few days before Tramiel took control of the Atari. So just be aware that I don't claim to be infallible, but I am trying to get information that has not been contaminated by the whole zeitgeist out there. It just drives me nuts. Dynamics, that was here in town. Don't know if this was made here when Dynamics was here, but I suspect it was. I love making these videos. They take a lot of work. The Amiga 1000 episode took me at least 100 hours, and I'm pretty sure it was over 200 hours. I know it's over 200 hours or way more if you count all of the documentaries I watched, all of the interviews, a lot of VCF interviews with the old timers. I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. I absolutely loved meeting Dale Luck. I love this machine. I am really happy with it, and I do plan to make use of it on a regular basis. IR beginner. Well, I know you got to be patient with old games, but this doesn't seem like a good sign. Let's see if this is an example of one that doesn't like the accelerator or if it just doesn't work. There it goes. So, just doesn't like the accelerator. Yeah, I've never played this. Clearly a Battlezone clone, and clearly something that would very much like to have that accelerator working. But anyway, as you can see, though, the Parceiro is amazing. It has a lot of things on it. Not sure why I'm having that error. I was working fine in Workbench 2 earlier, so I must have messed up the image somehow. But it's just a really cool tool. Now, I did want to stock, like I said, now this Amiga 1000 is going to live right next to my main desk where I can use it every day. And it's been there for the last couple of weeks, and it gets used several times a week, which is awesome. I love having a machine that's just no friction. It's easy to use. So if you haven't seen the episode of 64 Commodore where I restored this machine, it's right here, and thanks for coming.